Hi, and welcome to our kitchen. My name is Chef Ramon Longoria. I'm with the San Antonio Food Bank Health and Wellness Team, and today we're going to be making a very familiar traditional side dish that we see during the holidays. You might be familiar seeing it coming out of a can, either jellied, whole, and syrup. It's cranberry sauce. So today I'm going to show you how to make cranberry sauce from scratch, fast, easy, and delicious. So let's cook. So first, we're gonna start with our cranberries, the star of the show. Now, as you see the recipe, it says to rinse and pick through the cranberries. And when we're talking about picking through the cranberries, we wanna remove any ones that have already popped, we wanna remove any ones that are shriveled, or any way like discolored or don't look right. So we're just gonna remove those out, rinse, and set aside when we're ready to use them. Another flavor component of this dish is oranges. We're gonna be using both the juice and the zest. Now, when I talk about zest, I'm talking about this little outside white part. There's a lot of essential oils and a lot of flavor that go into this zest. So I'm gonna be showing you two different methods on how to remove this zest. First, I'm gonna be using a microplane. Now, if you have a box grater, that small little holes on the side of that box grater will work just fine for this. But I'm going to be using my zester. And as I move my microplane around, I'm pulling up the zest and I'm leaving behind that spongy white that's in between the zest and the flesh of my orange. That's called the pith. Very, very bitter. So we definitely want to limit how much pith is going into our dish because we just want to add that delicious pop of orange flavor. Now, anytime in my kitchens, I definitely love to zest all of my citrus. It's a great way of adding a zip to your teas, to sauces, to any flavor. Like anytime you want a pop of citrus flavor, you can add a little bit of zest. So when I use it, I use what I can. Everything else goes into a tiny little Ziploc bag that I keep in the freezer that I can pull out at any time that I need it, anytime I want that little zip of citrus. So I'm gonna just continue to move my microplane, taking off that beautiful, flavorful zest. Anything I don't use for this recipe, I can save for later. I can save and freeze for later. So anytime that I want a wonderful little pop of citrus, I can take that out of the freezer and add my zest. And there we go, some beautiful zest to add on. Now, say I don't have a microplane. I don't have a box grater. A peeler will work just as well. I just want to be very careful, pulling it aside, and I'm just kind of using a little bit of sawing motion to make sure it gets through. And this does the exact same thing, getting off just my zest and leaving behind that bitter pith. Both of these methods are totally perfect way of getting our zest off. In the long method, you probably wouldn't want to eat that, but it'll taste wonderful. And I'm gonna put the rest of my zest over here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and juice my oranges. This is gonna add not only that orange flavor, but it's also gonna be the liquid, some of the liquid that I'm gonna be using to cook my cranberries in. And it's as simple as I'm gonna cut this in half. Cut in half. I'm gonna use my juicer here. Just moving around, making sure I get all of that out. Done. Do it again. So what I'm looking for here is about half a cup. This way I'm getting another fresh component of flavor into my dish. I'm gonna squeeze out about half a cup total. You can definitely get 100% orange juice to substitute the fresh orange juice if you'd like. But getting the fresh orange juice gives you access to that zest that adds so much flavor. Another way of doing this, say I don't have a juicer. Another way of doing this is I can get a fork. Take your fork, put it inside, and look at all that juice I get out by simply using my fork. So then I don't have to go buy any fancy equipment. I'm not stuck on anything. I could just use my fork, squeeze through, and look at all that juice I can get out by simply using a fork. So I'm right there at about half a cup of orange juice. The next star in this recipe is my ginger. Now I want to make sure my ginger is peeled. I don't want to add that peel to it. So I've got a peeler out. I can definitely use a peeler. Say I've already used my peeler's in the sink, I don't want to have to get it out. Go for a spoon. I can get a spoon, and the spoon will do just exactly what my peeler's doing and take off that skin. It might get a little bit of a splash zone, but that's fine. So now I have my ginger completely peeled. Now ginger in its raw form is very spicy. It's a really, really powerful kick. So I'm just going to cut it in half. So then after my cranberry sauce is cooked, I can pick this out, leave that flavor behind, and take out that spicy bite that we don't want somebody to eat by accident. So now I have, my ginger is ready. I've got cinnamon sticks. Now cinnamon is a great warming spice. It's like that warm hug you get during the fall. I know in my family, anytime I came home and I smelled the smell of cinnamon, I knew I was gonna get a really nice treat later on that evening. So I've got a couple of cinnamon sticks, and I believe I'm ready to start cooking. So I'm gonna get my stove on, and what I wanna do is I wanna do like a medium-high heat. I wanna bring this up to a boil, lower it down to a simmer, and let it cook. So I'm gonna add my cranberries that have been rinsed and picked through. I'm going to add my orange juice, freshly squeezed. I'm gonna add my orange zest. And since I have them both, I'm gonna use both. I'm gonna add my fresh ginger that's been peeled and sliced, large pieces. I'm gonna add my cinnamon sticks. I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of sugar. This is gonna add a nice little sweet component that's gonna offset that very tart flavor that you're gonna get naturally from your cranberries. And then just a touch of salt. That salt's gonna be like a third flavor component. So you've got tart, you have sweet, and just a little bit of salty. Then I'm gonna add half a cup of water. And we wanna bring this up to a boil, cut it down to a simmer, and let it simmer for about 15-20 minutes. Now this is gonna take a while, so I already have one prepared. As you can see, it's pretty thick. I've reduced out a lot of that liquid that I added in here. Say I don't want this to be as thick, I can add a touch of water or a little more of that orange juice and thin it out a little bit. And it'll give us a great consistency and a wonderful flavor. And there we go. It smells great. I can smell that cinnamon. I can smell that spiciness of the ginger. That orange scent is definitely coming through. And there we go. Let's take a little taste and see what we have. This is delicious. I can taste that tart cranberry, that sweetness of the orange, that warming note from the cinnamon. It's absolutely delicious. I hope you join us for our next recipe on Let's Cook.